Heat Rock.
We got a live from the 75 podcast crew episode. Matter of fact, no name for the episode this time.
No number?
No number. No number for the episode. That's what I meant to say. No number for the episode this time. We're going to call this one, We Got Work to Do.
We got work to do.
We got work to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we got a special guest. I'm going to get to that in 1 second. But you know how we kick it off, like we always kick it off. Blazing, what you listening to right now, man, in the streets?
Masego, listen to his stuff.
Okay.
A Driver just put out a track with Billy Mercury.
Fire.
That's off
Fire.
of,
It's a little 4-wheel project.
That's the Over Everything, yeah.
Over Everything, okay.
Over
Gotcha,
everything. Orlando Jackson with the Triple H.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay.
What's up, Yon? Yon had a feature on that track.
And Crazo as well.
Oh, shout out Crazy Girl.
Yeah. Cakes, what you rocking to right now?
Don't know if I'm pronouncing this young man's name correctly, but I'm listening to Razor's Extra Credit. Downloaded that on iTunes. What's up, Razor? Got a couple of dope features. I think Blazing said he's actually a producer.
Yeah, you're a producer.
What's up, Jay Josephine?
Jay Josephine's fire.
Can't wait to have you on the podcast.
Jay Josephine, I actually what? Somebody made a painting for Jay Josephine.
Oh yeah. And it's going to be displayed in Canada.
Yeah, so that's fire. That's fire.
Very nice.
Anybody else you listen to?
Nah, that's all I got right now.
That's all you got. I'm rocking with Blazing right now with that the Triple H track from Orlando. That's fire.
Everything butter.
I'm still waiting on Toke Lansky to let me know when he dropping this mixtape.
Yo Gotti in Norfolk.
So what's good?
Other than that, man,
He's probably recording a video right now as we speak.
Yeah, hey, Toke got videos for days
With the big body Jaguar coming through the streets.
Yeah. Who else? Lucid. I gotta shout Lucid out.
Shout out Lucid. ATI died. What's good?
Yeah, I gotta shout Lucid out. He stayed working.
That podcast coming.
Yeah, always got some visuals. So I'm rocking with Lucid. Lucid doing his thing. Other than that, man, that's about it. I'm rocking to right now. Y'all already know I'm giving the same. I'm always got my local artist mixtape, not mixtape, but playlist rocking in my whip. So you already know I got the BEO and CEO popping off all the time. And I got that Young Yon.
What's the name of that track though?
What, at the stove or the
I'm a dog.
I'm a dog. Oh, I'm a dog. Yeah, that's my thing.
What you giving them, lazy?
What you giving them?
Still giving bitches the lazy. That's funny. Funniest line I ever heard in a song before, but that joint.
Actually, it's a meme. I'll share it with you after the podcast. It's pretty funny.
Oh, okay. You gotta show it to me. But that's my favorite line in the song. It's the funniest line. But I'm rocking with them, man. They're doing their thing right now. So shout out to them right there. But like I said, man, I'm not numbering this episode. We're calling this We Got Work to Do. And the special guest we got today is none other than Mr. Michael J. Muhammad in the building today. Man, how you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for the work that you all have done to bring this podcast to a listenership that is commensurate with progress. And I do not believe that where you are is where you will be. So if you just keep working,
Yes.
keep working.
Appreciate that.
Always remember, work times force equals distance. And so the more work you put in, the more force behind that labor, the further you will be from where you are and the closer to where you desire. So just keep working.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that felt good. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I feel like a brand new person out here.
Words of wisdom.
I just, you know what I'm saying? I like that. So, we're going to keep it the same how we always do it out here. We're not going to switch up nothing. Question that we ask all of our guests, every guest that's sitting in that seat over there, is music-wise, what are you listening to right now?
My musical palette is very diversified.
Yeah.
And so to go into the expansion of my listening would really take up the time. But are you talking about local?
Anything.
What you listening?
Anything.
What did you listen to when you
On my way here, I was listening to Future.
Okay.
I was listening to quite a few different tracks, but prior to that, I was listening to Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
Okay.
Before that, I was listening to Pavarotti.
Okay.
I may have been listening to Chopin or Mozart prior to that. And this is not, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
But my favorite male artist, interestingly enough, of all time is the one that they call Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
Okay.
But particularly the Frank Sinatra that was arranged and directed by the great Count Basie, giving him that soulful vibe and that color and tone to his lyrics.
Okay.
So, but I listen to a very diverse palette of music.
Definitely.
Because I believe that music is one of the truest manifestations of the nature of God that there is. While you can argue with individuals, you can't argue with music. So I always encourage people to take their message and put it to music, because music is the method by which the wise communicate. That is why those who desire to see us continue in the path or the direction of servitude have attached themselves to the music, because it is through the music that they can convey their message and reach the multitudes. No matter how inferior the message, if you just put it with a good rhythm, good tone, a good beat, you can convey it
Facts.
in such a way
Fact.
that it can redirect society. Little known fact. When Motown was being built, and one of the top writers for Motown, of course, was Marvin Gaye, the brother-in-law of Berry Gordy. And at a point in time in the 60s where the country was in a disarray, Marvin Gaye penned the song, What's Going On? But Berry Gordy, the genius in ear and concept that he is known for in music, saw that song as so controversial that he did not think that it would have a place in the market. He calls that now, as he is in his 80s, he calls that one of the biggest mistakes that he almost made. Because now what's going on not only drove movement of that day, but it's a driving force behind the continuation of movement, because there's no time stamp on that song. It is as real today as it was then.
That still play every time a message is trying to be put out. So
And that's what music is.
Yeah.
That's what music is. Music is the ability to convey message, ideas, spirit, energy, and do it in such a way that it's able to transform human thought, idea, and attitude. When you change the attitude, you change the action. So when the enemies of our rise saw in the late 70s, early 80s, this new movement of hip hop take root amongst us, they said that it was that which could unify us faster than anything that had come before us. Hip hop had the ability to unify. So they met and they determined that they would not combat hip hop, but they would usurp, overtake hip hop, and give the direction to hip hop, a direction, I should say, to hip hop that would take it away from where it was to go and directed as to where they would have it go. So if you look at the influx of the crack cocaine epidemic of the 80s, it hit at the same time as hip hop. And they used the music as a vehicle by which to travel the message of the drug culture, not only throughout America and the impoverished communities of black people, but throughout the world. You see? And in early hip hop, listen to the music. I'm your mama, I'm your daddy. I'm that nigga in the attic. I'm your doctor when you need. Want some coke, want some weed. You know me, I'm your main boy. Thick and thin, I'm your pusher man.
Yep.
And that became a popularized utterance during the time of the influx and growth of the drug pandemic. So now, in this day and age, Future comes and he talks about the Percocet, Molly Percocet.
All that shit, Muhammad.
And he can talk about lean and mixing up promethazine with Sprite. And that becomes so popular that he even can score a contract with Sprite themselves. See, so there is something about the music and the culture of hip hop that is so impressive and important that the enemy saw fit to usurp it and insert a direction that would not be commensurate with the growth and development of our community. So I'm listening to a diverse group of gatherings and people and music from old to new. One of my young artists that I'm listening to, Young Pilot, very young brother. You have to listen to him. You'll hear him soon.
Okay.
In fact, we have a song titled "We Got Work to Do" that we're going to be releasing soon. But I'm interested in listening to the young artists.
You spitting on that? You rapping on that?
Oh, brother, I'm just
16s?
You got
Why you
Listen.
the DJ Khaled on the track? That's all I want to know.
Huh?
You ad-libbing?
No, I'm doing me,
Okay.
and it'll be a pleasant hearing.
You in the video? You all dancing in the video?
No, listen, I'm not Diddy.
Okay.
I ain't gonna wear no shiny suits.
Okay.
Is there
And I'm not gonna take your royalties and
Uh-oh.
your earnings.
So is there an artist?
But I am born in November.
Is there an artist mainstream right now that conveys a good message that you listen to?
Oh, it's a plethora. Of course, those who commonly listen to, like the Kendrick Lamars, the J. Cole's, there's a plethora. But what I'm more interested in are those who have taken a direction of debauchery and are now redirecting their path to produce a nuance and a language that is commensurate with movement. So yes, the J. Cole's, the Kendrick Lamars, those young brothers who are yet on a journey, see? But when you hear T.I. and he takes on cause and he takes on movement, when you hear Rick Ross and he's taking on buying back the block, that's one of the biggest mistakes hip hop made in recent time. It missed the movement that Rick Ross was launching and the idea and the concept that he was trying to implant to buy back the block in your community and begin to take ownership and possession of where you work, where you live, where you play, and become owners and producers as opposed to consumers. But that message got very little airplay.
Well, let me ask you this. You saying that message got very little airplay, but, those artists you just named had a lot of negative, topics in their music. Now we're hearing positive messages, which, I don't knock. I'd love to hear the positive message. Do you think that has something to do with people overlooking their...
No, because then you have the Dead Presidents. You have the Poor Righteous Teachers. You have all of those groups who have maintained a positive perspective throughout their entire career. And their career was either short-lived or underground. And that is because positivity and the redirection of illicit behavior is not what is beneficial in the marketplace for those who see us and our community as a wanting prey. So when you have someone who is preying on a weak or a wanting subject, surely you don't want them to have the strength of music, vibration, tone, rhythm. We are rhythmic people. So we're moved by that. And it's generally the vibration, the tone, the beat, the rhythm that draws us in, and then we get lyrical content. Because if we were honest, most of the lyrical content that we are attracted to would have no place with us if we would first engage music based on lyrical content and not rhythm, tone, vibration, beat. So because the enemies know this and they have studied us and they know how we move, they go after us in our very appetite. So music conveys death. Sure. That's what the artists are into because that's what allows them to be popular. Rick Ross would not have popularity if he was talking about being an upright and upstanding citizen.
Does that go back to the first part which you were talking about where hip hop was started?
Absolutely.
Well, I think sometimes, like he was saying too, like a lot of them, maybe they overall objective was to become positive, but they had to start and get some type of attention drawn to them and then use that platform to turn it into positivity.
And then some of them never had an intention, an inclination, or a desire to do anything that would be seen as positive, but a light was turned on. You see? And so that's what the purpose of engagement is and moving around. Our young people can find local music is beautiful. It's great. But if it remains local, then it never achieves the greater goal that it can have because of the unification principle of music. It should be able to expand your horizons and provide for you platforms by which you can travel and experience and engage. So when you have young people who get into music and they have one direction, but they begin to experience and travel and engage, then their horizons are expanded. It becomes reflective in their music. And when it's reflected in their music, if they're wise, they're able to navigate themselves up the ladder, take possession and ownership of their product, and give direction. But if they're ignorant, or if they're unlearned or unguided, then they dissipate and they fall by the wayside. And then another 100 rappers come up next week and 200 more the next week, to the point where there's an oversaturation of artists, but a deprivation of music.
One thing that I like to ask the artists, I ask them, what do you do to give back to the community? Like how do you use your platform to be a positive influence on your audience? So whether they know it or not, they are held to like a higher standard, I want to say maybe, that they have the ability to make a change. So like you have a group of little kids looking to you and you flashing guns in the video. Do you plan on doing something to change that situation maybe?
That's a very, very impressive and important point. Leadership is dangerous. And the reason leadership is dangerous is anytime that you have the ability to direct or to lead or to move people, then you have a responsibility to do it productively, and with the consideration for the whole and not the few. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, you'll find that the responsibility that is placed on your shoulders will produce life or it will produce death. And so when young people who are engaged in the art form realize the power that comes along with their recognition, many of them rise to the circumstance, rise to the occasion, and they take the opportunity to lead and to guide a generation. And that's why I said T.I., having the longevity that he has in the business, having the economic standing and position that he has where he's not in a position of want, but then he comes back and he takes on a pro-black position and takes on political stances. Well, what does that say to those who have followed him, even in the illicit culture? It says that, wow, if he can make it and begin to become a thinker, an idealist, see, then I too can do that. Because if you just look back to where we began this conversation in the barbershop, everybody in the barbershop got something to say. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an idea, but very few people have an opportunity or a direction on how to execute their idea. So when you have an artist who has created a platform and sold millions and millions of albums, millions of listeners, now they can take and begin to inject their ideological viewpoint into the conversation amongst an audience that is already primed and ready for the hearing. That's the benefit of having gone through the rough patches of life prior to discovering the rosy part of life, so to speak. So when you hear Rick Ross, I don't think it should be a judgment of where he came from and where he is. And that's why when I watch Kendrick Lamar, when I watch J. Cole and so many others, I'm not so excited yet, because I know what the trials of life can produce. And I know what being challenged on an idea, a thought, or an opinion can do to a young person. Mm-hmm. And I know that most people don't believe the same way their whole life. So I'm waiting to get a more elongated view of the product before I make a judgment on who is and who is not in this game called hip hop.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
I feel like passing an offering plate around.
No. So let's segue a little bit off of music, just for a tad bit. Mm-hmm. But I want to ask, you know what I mean? We talked about youth.
Crack this a little.
That's fine. It gets warm in here.
It's fine. We talked about the youth.
True.
The big thing that a lot of, I feel like it didn't get the publicist, not publicist. It didn't go as public as I thought it should have went. But the thing that you did with the kids from Berkeley and Huntersville, you know what I mean? Is that something that you want to talk about? I don't know, but
yeah. Well, are you?
Well, my thing is I wanted you to just touch on that, because I felt like at the time they didn't have a leader. It was no leader. It was nobody to tell people like you need to stop. Nobody was man enough, or nobody was strong enough. I felt like for people to to listen, and I felt like you came in and made a direction of that situation. So I don't know if you want to just touch on that slightly.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate the recognition. And when that situation last year, where you're referring to, is a conflict that had arisen and been going for some time, really rooted in music, between warring factions and neighborhoods within the area of Norfolk. I became very alarmed, and it has been my long passion to address the issues of youth and gang violence. Mm-hmm. But I attended the funeral of a young man who had died in that conflict, and hundreds, literally, of young people poured out in participation of this funeral. And when I looked out amongst the audience, I saw death. I saw a bunch of young people who were planning in their minds to retaliate in such a way that that funeral would become commonplace. Okay. And so I took that opportunity to meet, embrace, and engage some of the young people who were there. And in so doing, the next day, because of the tension that existed, I went walking through Huntersville by myself. And people were coming out of their homes and they were hugging and embracing me and saying, you know, the fear, the trepidation that they were living under. And I said, I have to do something. So I began to call various people together and to produce in a matter of hours a sit down where I could literally lay hands on and speak to, in concert with other men and some women, the young people who were at the center of the musical disagreements, which I knew was driving much of the street conflict. And what I found in reaching out to them is that they were just as desirous of ending the feud and conflict as people were for them too. And so when we brought them together, about 30 men in a room brought these young people together, it was really, I don't know what heaven is like, but I would have to imagine that that energy was something like that. There was hugging and tears and exchanges of pleasantries and brotherhood and commitments, many of which that have lasted to this day. And so what we were doing, we were testing the waters to see if we could walk into what is considered one of the most difficult situations and produce a good reality. And we were. And so from that hypothesis, we were able to derive the conclusion that all of these conflicts could be resolved if we would just have the resources and the desire to go to our young people and sit them down in mediation and conflict resolution to address the issues that much of which you'll find are non-issues altogether. So that was a nucleus for something that we're working to launch a larger project here in the area around, which is conflict mediation and conflict resolution.
Okay, so that's going. So that prompted for something even bigger and stronger than you initially,
Yes.
perceived from that situation.
Yes. Because ultimately, what it boils down to is the lack of knowledge of self, the lack of knowledge of others, and the lack of knowledge of God. And when those knowledges are in deprivation, then you have savage behavior that emits from people who know not who they are. But when you can go to a little young black brother in Huntersville or Park Place or Tidewater Park or wherever you find him, and you can connect him not to that small geographical mass that is so minute and insignificant that it's not considered in the larger world, but when you can take that young person and connect them to a greater land mass and a greater participation of people and culture and heritage, you can take young black men and women away from seeing themselves as minorities and seeing themselves as a part of the broader perspective of the world. It gives them a desire to see more and to do more than just the little small area that they have found themselves in. So Huntersville is in an implosion. Berkeley is in an implosion. Norview, and those various neighborhoods. But then you take the broader city, Norfolk is in an implosion. And in that implosion, people are turning inward on each other in desperation for survival. But if we can show them how to think their way out of such a tragic situation, I guarantee you'll see a better people.
So let me ask you this. Does economics play into a lot of what's going on now? And if it is economics, what can we do to help out and improve?
Economics is a very major factor in it. However, money absent knowledge is just as detrimental as being broke. If we have an abundance of money but not an abundance of wisdom, then you just got a bunch of broke dummies. Wealthy dummies, I'm sorry. Yeah. So the white man, even in the various calls for reparations from slave labor, you hear people say, we want reparations. Well, even if the white man was to give us reparations, in our current state and condition, he'll have it back within a week, 2 at the most. He'll come out with a reparations model Cadillac with a gold package, charge $300,000, and Negroes will go buy them because we have not been taught into an economic position.
I'm glad we spoke on this. I asked this question the last 2 podcasts we had about LeVar Ball.
Sure.
With his shoes.
Sure.
What do you think about that?
I think LeVar Ball is a genius. He's a marketing genius. He's a father who is immensely in love with his sons. He wants the world to love them the way that he does. He thinks they're the greatest young men ever produced and born on the planet Earth, and he wants everybody else to see him that way. And if you don't, he challenges you. But he has trained them in such a way that if he challenges you, I believe that his sons will meet the challenge. And so he introduces into the marketplace an idea and a product. And he said, I don't need Nike. I don't need Adidas. I don't need any of the conglomerates. Nor do I need an NBA contract or a contract for a shoe deal. Mm-hmm. I'll make my own. And I'll put them out to the public on the basis of my and my son's popularity, and we'll see what happens. And within hours, he made millions. And now those who made mockery of him are studying his example.
He basically set a blueprint.
He is being studied because he said, wow, you mean to tell me that I took a contract from Nike that had me under all these exclusionary clauses for where I could go and who I could interact with, and they made a slave out of me for less money than this man made with an independent product and an independent idea, all while being made mock of? See? So he definitely not only made a blueprint, he also made a way out for a lot of artists to think themselves into a better position. Because remember, Nike's not giving you a shoe contract because they like you. Nike's not giving you a shoe contract because you look good. Nike's giving you a shoe contract because they believe that your marketability is such that you will reach enough people that you will bring them back a greater market share. Mm-hmm. But if you had the belief in yourself that Mr. Ball had in his boys, then what could you do?
I think it was dope. I think his bold, the way he's portraying himself. I wish that he turned it down just a little bit.
I don't.
But every day, just a little bit.
Has it been broken?
Has it been broken?
Why should he fix it?
But you know what I said? I told you, if you notice, he takes all the criticism and he deflects all the negative energy towards himself. I'd rather you talk about me and talk bad about me than talk about my boys. Yeah. All I need my boys to do is just play focus. Ball. They focusing on ball. I let there be the people that they talk about, and I think that's genius.
How many people said to Bill O'Reilly, "I wish he'd just turn it down," and it worked for him. It worked for his market. It worked for his clientele. So therefore, he continued on that path. Look at Mr. Ball. Now, he has done something that puts him and his boys in a position where they can walk in and call the shots. See?
I mean, I like it.
They don't come in as beggars, hoping to leave with a product. See? They're going in as businessmen to talk business as equals. And that's where we should be finding ourselves. That's why land acquisition is important. That's why we should begin to invest our monies in those things that will bring us greater levels of ownership and position of strength, so that when we go to the table of negotiation, we're not going as borrowers. We're not going as beggars. We're going as equals. That's what Dr. King's work was about. Equality, not so we could live next door to white folks and be happy because we got a house next door to white folks. Yeah. It was about the ability to build your own community. And if you chose, sell some houses to some white folks, sell some houses to some black people, but his vision was never or should never have been interpreted to mean that we are happy to be a part of, but not have anything coming from. See? You can't keep putting in and not extracting. So we have been consumers to the point where we consume more than many nations. Now it's time for us to take a level of ownership, a level of ownership in our own communities first. And that's how we begin to decrease violence. That's how we begin to increase our economic position. And if you can take and invest into human development, that which others have put into infrastructure development, humans will build infrastructure, or unbuilt humans will destroy infrastructure. So if you invest in human development, they'll take care of the infrastructure development. Look at what China is doing with its people. They're investing in their people. They're investing in their education and their development so that they could bring that intelligence back to China. And now China is the world economic power. How? Because their people went out and they got education in various nations, particularly America, during the boom of Silicon Valley. And they took that technological information back to their country, and they launched the Silicon Valley boom in China. So now every product that's being made, China is making a product to challenge it. Every car, every bomb, every plane that's being made, every building that's being built, China is challenging it. Why? Because they invested in the human capital. And now it's producing economic capital. And that's where we're missing, and that's where our level of intelligence has to increase. So if Chinese people are listening to our music, we don't need to be telling them about Molly and Percocet. We need to be telling them about waterways. We need to be telling them about infrastructure development and projects that we can partner on, that we can work in conjunction with to produce. Look at where we live. Every day we see trains going out with coal. How many of us have asked where that coal is going? No. Coal being exported, going to China, popularly going to China so that they can produce steel and take control of the steel market in the world. So now Africa is under infrastructure development by the Chinese in exchange for mineral wealth. Africa has traded its diamonds, its gold, its cobalt, its uranium, plutonium, titanium, all of those wealth, oil, for infrastructure development from the Chinese. But we have yet to look at where we can fit into the marketplace and begin to build and develop and take control of something under our feet that we can call our own.
It's deep. Go ahead. She got a question for you.
I want to switch places just slightly. Think back 10 years of where the economy was, the culture we were as a people, and think of today. Do you think we are moving in the right direction?
No.
Tell me why.
We are, as our economic position increases, so does our consumerism. And because we have not decreased consumerism and increased productivity, I do not think that we're in a better place. We're just a better dressed slave. We're just a better driving slave. We're diamond ring, mink coat, Rolls Royce, big house living in slaves.
Woo.
We're consumers that buy what we want and beg for what we need. We have no standing in the world's economic structure that is respected. No one calls us in for our advice on finance. You see? So, no, I don't think we've increased. I think we've decreased. Look at our institutions of higher learning. They're in the hands of white people. Norfolk State is popularly promoting white people in their marketing material, naming very prestigious programs after white people. We're losing our color in the world. And if we don't protect ourselves, look at the Dr. King Monument. Over $100 million spent to build the King Monument in Washington, D.C., and a Chinese man was given the contract to design and build it. Not a black man, not a black woman. Why? We're not competing in the market. We're not agriculturally sound. We're not digging in the earth and producing crops and feeding our own families, taking our health into our own hands. I lived in a community where they worked for 20 years to take the little black boys off the corner from selling drugs, only to build a CVS pharmacy on the corner. See? So little black boys went to jail, some went to the grave, some lost their minds, some lost all that they had of mentality. You see? But now they put a drugstore on the corner that draws in a month what those young people didn't do in a year. So we're in a regressive position. The largest building in our community is the church, and it employs 5 or 6 people. No, we're not in a good position. We have vacant lots in our community, and we're begging white people to come and buy them. We have empty warehouses, and we haven't found a business. We don't have any grocery stores. We're not even pumping our own water. We're in a regressive condition. And if we get too much worse, we'll be back on a plantation. It's closer than we even imagine.
Hopefully I'm dead by then.
No, you don't have to.
Don't say that.
You don't.
Don't say that.
You don't have to be dead. You just you have to contribute to the change in the condition, because on the flip side of that, we are in the midst of the best generation we have ever produced. That's why they're giving us little Uzi Verts, because they want to distract us from that which is coming, that has a message and a mindset that is set on being free. That's where the Kendrick Lamars come into play. See? They're determined. He's determined to be free. He's determined to be artistically free. He's determined to be culturally free. He's determined to be free and liberated and able to move in a way that is commensurate with a free man. And so that message that he is conveying into an entirely different group of young people. We got a bright future. Don't check out.
Oh, no,
check it out.
I'm just saying, if it's going back to,
No, you should be willing to, if you have to lose your life, let it be in the defense of your own position of freedom. And it's okay to kill if it's in defense of your life and your position of freedom. You see? So, yeah, don't be so willing to die for the cause.
Yeah,
we need some folks that's going to kill for the cause.
Yeah.
I know that ain't what you expect to hear, but it's just real.
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready, and he be in the gym too. So I need to hear it. I need to hear it.
Killing people.
That's what Donald Trump talking about.
Hey, yeah, you right.
Let me ask you this one question. Buying back the block. I like that saying, and I think we talked to Joe Dillard about that. But I see a different type of picture in Park Place from what I was accustomed to growing up. I went from the quick pickup on 26th Street to the Hampson Biscuit.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
But you know why? But watch this. You can't blame the Hanson Biscuit nor the proprietors of the Hanson Biscuit. That building stayed vacant for 15 years. It was vacant. No one saw a vision or an idea that would work and bring that back and make it a part of the community. So some outsiders saw way down the road beyond what we were seeing, and they took economic interest. You have to give them that. The law of use says if you don't use, if you abuse, or you misuse something, you lose it. See? And that's where we find ourselves most of the time in our communities.
What about, and maybe I don't know the whole details about this. I remember the Boys and Girls Club. I grew up in that Boys and Girls Club. The guy that bought it, if I'm correct, bought it for $300,000. Fixed it up. Now got it for like a 1.5. I mean, the number might change.
Maybe more than that.
Maybe more than that.
But that's the marketplace. But even with that, listen, if the Boys and Girls Club had not sold it, he could not have bought it. The good Boys and Girls Club is not the good people that they pretend to be. They took the money from those facilities and sold all of their inner cities facilities around this area and others and consolidated them into white areas. So the money from Norfolk, from W.H. Houston, or W.W. Houston, I'm sorry.
W.W. Houston, yeah.
Compostela Boys and Girls Club, the Colonial Boys and Girls Club, all of that money was taken and put into the Virginia Beach Boys and Girls Club to make and strengthen it. So you can't look at the man who bought it and made a profit. You got to look at the folks that sold it. They sold it because they didn't want to be there. They took those programs out of the inner city because, again, it does not fit the model of productivity for them, for you to be productive. We are driving the world's economy. The world is being fed off of the ignorance of black people. Look at how you mentioned Quick Shop. That may be one of the last stores in all of Norfolk that is black owned, because all of the little convenience stores and corner markets have been taken over by outsiders, whether they're Indian, whether they're Arab, whether they're African. Used to be a time when they were Jewish. And they are those who take the economic position in our community, and we feed them, and they leave and go back to their palatial communities that is free of all of the debauchery that's in our community, and then we go back to squalor. So Malcolm X said that if you don't hold the dollars in your community that you spend, then they will leave your community, and your community will be dilapidated and deplorable while others flourish. And that's what we see.
Yeah, I think it was the Joe Dillard interview where Joe Dillard said that the black dollar only stays within the community for like 6 hours or something like that. I think he said.
Yeah, so it's somewhere around that. But here's the problem. That doesn't happen in a vacuum. That happens when people take leadership positions and don't put responsibility on the parts of those who are bloodsucking our community. There are banks and corporate interests that derive benefit from our community that could easily take just a simple portion and invest back in training and in financial planning management and resources for community and give us an opportunity, but they don't. You see all these major corporations come in, building buildings, taking government dollars, having Chapter 3 set-asides that are supposed to be procured for impoverished communities around those work sites to create jobs. None of them do it. None of the leadership, not the NAACP, not the Urban League, not the churches, not the politicians. None of them hold these people accountable. Why? Because they need backing. They need support. So if I want backing, if I want support, then I can't be combative with those from whom I need backing and support. So I'll let those who are ignorant, excuse me, and unlearned, gullible and unsuspecting, who'll give me their vote for a piece of chicken, who'll give me their vote for a smile, who'll give me their vote for a visit. And without putting any demand on those businesses to do what needs to be done. So it's a system, it's a very sick system.
Do you think is that just as a culture of Black, we don't know the value of what we have?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think,
or who you are. Yeah. The value of who you are. The value of who you are is way greater than what you have. Because what you have is only a minute, insignificant, short-term accomplishment of who you are. Who you are is greater than what you have. Mm-hmm. Who you are in terms of your contribution to humanity and to the overall development of that which we call existence is greater than what you have. But what you have is not what you will have when you unlock the identity of who you are.
One thing that I hate to see, you wake up one morning and you see a Trayvon Martin on the news or a Jordan Edwards, and then my peers are angry for 48 hours at the max. How would you encourage them to, I want to say, redirect their anger and stay engaged in the cause? Because they easily become distracted.
It starts with developing your own style. Watch this. Generally, people who are attracted to flash in the pan, so to speak, not to diminish the identity of my little brothers, but what they consider flash in the pan stories, those who are attracted to that, you'll find generally don't have their own style in life, in fashion. They're easily led astray. They're gullible, they're unsuspecting. But when people begin to find their own style, their own identity, then you'll find that they increase in their level of awareness and commitment. So when they engage a subject, when they engage an idea, when they engage a position, it's for longer than just a 48-hour period. See, it all starts with being true to your own identity, your own self, and finding your own style. Stop trying to be like everybody else.
Swagger jacking out here.
Swagger jacking.
Fake woke. You fake woke.
Nah, I'm just saying. I know exactly what he's saying. I feel that. They used
to wear the fake bags and the fake shoes. Now they're just fake activists. They're fake concerned. They're fake artists. They're fake. People just go in and out of different phases of products and productivity, but have no level of consistency because they haven't found their own self, their own style.
There's opportunists looking for an opportunity to just jump on. I'm with that. I feel you.
So let me ask you this. You're a cultural individual. Name one of your more enlightening experiences.
One of my more enlightening experiences. Oh, that's a broad, let me see.
Yeah, we got questions over here.
One of my more, one of my more enlightening experiences was probably running for mayor. And I would say that because it really showed me the deprivation of leadership that exists. Some people think that it's leadership all about them. But until you step out and offer yourself for leadership, you won't realize how many people are in deprivation of leadership. So I think that that would be one of my more, yeah.
So, with that being said, you ran for mayor. Unfortunately, you didn't win.
I don't know about that.
Well, as the position, you didn't get the position, I guess. You know what I'm saying. But now to see Mr. Kenny Alexander in that position, how do you feel?
Well, it's like this. The scripture says it's something like this. One man plants the seed, another man waters the seed, but ultimately God blesses the increase. So if I ran as the first black man to run for the office of mayor in the city of Norfolk's 330 plus year history, and we weakened the foundation of the white supremacist system that had been in place for all that time, and just 2 years later, in a cycle that would generally be 4 years, but just 2 years later, Mr. Alexander runs, and with our help and support and organization, he wins. I don't know where I lost. I don't know where I fell short. I think that what we did was we laid the foundation. And I don't know anyone who lives in a house that condemns the foundation as that part down there. You see?
That's deep.
It's the most essential and important part of the elevated structure. I don't know that we lost.
That makes sense.
You're arguing with your lady, and you tell her, listen.
Is this that question you want me?
He just be himself.
I'm just throwing
Throw it out there.
So when we argue with our ladies of Blasian, we got to make sure that we got to give them that type of talk. It's about the foundation, baby.
One of my, when we were talking earlier about music and relationships, one of the first songs that I did was on relationships. In fact, with Jan, Young Money Jan and I, on his first
Street Gospel.
Street Gospel.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jan, episode 17.
Love Triangle, the song that we did, Love Triangle, which was completely about relationships and the intricacies of relationships. So that was something that I wanted to share with you on that subject.
I gotta go back and listen to that song. Now.
Yeah. I mean, Jan gave us some great advice, relationship advice.
Jan is like
Jan for president.
Yeah.
Jan is a brilliant at conceptualizing and orating ideas. Mm-hmm. And relationships is something that he is very good at. And that's why we encouraged him very early when he was doing his Pills and Water to step into into that music genre, because he was able to convey ideas. I saw and see something for him that I don't think he has yet to arrive to, but eventually I think he will. He is one of those that I believe, as I was talking about T.I. and others, can come from a troubled background and flip that switch and really lead a movement. And I'm hoping every day that becomes his direction.
Oh, so too, when we interviewed him on, the episode 17, we learned a lot from him. And I think that he has a voice that can help, help the youth out. I think he has the influence, and I hopefully he used that voice to make change in the community if he hasn't already done so.
I think y'all is ahead of the time though, because he mentioned the Pills and Water vlog that was a dope concept.
The concept was phenomenal. And it just goes to show the artistic genius that's there. But you know, out of deep pain comes deep creativity. And because we are such a pain people, and everything that we've experienced, we carry an imprint on our psyche. When we focus and concentrate, you'll generally find out we dope. We dope as hell.
So I got a question. So, since you brought Yon up, you know what I'm saying? What's your favorite Young Money Yon song, other than the song that you was on?
No. I'm gonna be honest with you, and my children hated it because it made me rat. I love Waitress.
Oh, hey, what song? Bitch, we thirsty.
But no, because it met the moment, and it was really a dope song that could have been pushed. It met the moment and the cliche of it, and it's our experience. Yeah. I mean, it's the experience.
Who ain't been in the club like
money over here? Is you fucking working? I mean, we want to know.
First of all, I felt that way many times.
I mean, we gotta know because it's so. But that is my favorite. That's your favorite. It's very, very catchy.
I got you. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay. For the listeners, or tell our listeners, what was your life's greatest lesson, and what would you like for them to take away from this interview, this episode? We got work to do.
I've had so many life lessons by so many wise teachers. I would definitely not be able to tell you what that moment was. But one of the most prolific and wise utterances that was given to me by my teacher, Minister Louis Farrakhan, was when he told me to that fast growth was dangerous. I did not really understand what that meant, and I don't say that I fully understand it to this day, but I've come into a understanding. And when you understand the danger of fast growth is like this: either you'll crawl before you walk, or you'll crawl before you die. It's not good to avert the natural, necessary pains and struggles of life. So while it may become, a phenom that a child could pull up and walk without crawling, that important life lesson of crawling that slows down the process of growth long enough for you to learn, even if you learn what not to do. So fast growth is very dangerous. And if we're wise, we don't plan for the day, but we plan for tomorrow and many tomorrows to come. And in wisdom, we learn that the problem with youth is that we're not old. And the problem with being old is you're only old for a short time.
A short period of time.
That's where the wisdom is. Yeah. So if we learn the danger of fast growth, we'll slow down and begin to experience this thing called life. The enemy knew it. That's why they gave us microwave ovens. That's why they gave us fast cars, cellular phones, all of those things that aid in the process of keeping your life at a rapid pace. You see?
Yeah.
And then you're never able to do what the old folks call smell the flowers. Have you taken the time to smell flowers? They're very fragrant and medicinal. But we won't know that if we don't take the time. Have you ever taken the time to plant a crop and watch it grow? We don't do that because we don't have the time. So what's the benefit, the detriment? We go to the kitchen of our enemies and we find out that what we're consuming ain't even food. Yep. So if we slow down and grow according to our scale and not according to our expedited view of how the world should be, I believe that we'll learn a lot more in this beautiful thing called life.
And that's definitely true because, like you said about going to China, especially with the food, I always go to China to get my food from Beijing, China Ocean.
Only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm only half Asian on Tuesday and Thursdays.
I got a taste for the China tonight, so hey, you know what I mean. Just to throw that out there.
Make sure you go to the gym to burn them calories off,
I
sir.
got to because I had to miss. But go ahead, Cakes. Hold on. Before I get the relationship question, I do need to ask this because you named a bunch of artists that you actually listen to right now. Do you have a top 5?
Oh yeah.
In what genre?
We talking about No, all over.
That's hard.
Top 5 of all time.
It's supposed to be hard. 5
Yeah, that's
artists.
very difficult. No, listen.
For whatever reasons, though, just 5 artists.
I think that the most beautiful vocal utterance that has ever been given is given by the voice of Miss Patti LaBelle. She has one of the most gifted boxes to be found.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that's one.
Her pies will give you diabetes.
Oh my gosh.
Patty Pies is fire.
I'm a major fan of so many.
Okay, so I don't know if you listen to the podcast. But
Sarah Vaughan.
Let me tell you before Kel tell you.
Top
5 means top 5.
Well,
And
no
there are
honorable
no
mentions.
honorable mentions.
No, listen. When I give you your top, I'm stuck.
You can't say, oh, I
But
forgot
listen,
the name. Somebody
No, but that's
gonna
why I
have to call
say
you
this
and
is
say,
unfair because you got so many different
It's
genres.
supposed to be
Like-
it's supposed to be hard.
So I could take one from top 5, like people that I just.
Of all time.
Just
Your
listen to.
all-time favorite top 5 artists.
Oh, that's difficult.
You
King
said-
Pleasure.
Okay.
Are you familiar with King Pleasure?
I'm not.
Okay, that's.
By the time this podcast ends, we'll be familiar.
No, listen. So I'm gonna say Patti LaBelle,
Patty.
King Pleasure.
King Pleasure.
I don't want to make them all singers.
Jay-Z.
It's whatever you like.
Jay-Z.
James Ntume.
You
Okay.
tricked him. He heard Jay got his.
No, James Ntume. Yeah,
Okay.
James
I'm
Ntume.
not familiar with him.
Juicy Fruit.
Oh, okay.
But he wrote everything you've ever heard through the 80s.
Okay.
Luther, Stephanie Mills. I mean, you name it.
Little Luther? Or Big Luther?
Both Luthers.
Oh,
He's a
Both.
three.
So yeah, that's 3.
with the curl.
two
Because
more.
and listen. So hold on.
No honorable mentions.
No honorable mentions.
We gonna hold you to this
That's
list.
what
Oh, this is difficult.
Cameron.
And to be fair, I'll say that his list changed every EP.
Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke is good.
I have yet to hear a rapper.
That's 4.
No. But see, hold on. See, that's why I say it's difficult.
Nah.
Because if
That's
I have to
four.
balance it out with a rapper, then that means that you just like.
This is your list, not Glacier's list.
No, I'm saying if you take a rapper, you got to. That's difficult.
You named 4. I'm just putting that out there. You got one more. No honorable mentions.
No honorable mention.
I know this guy that made the blueprint in 2001.
No honorable mention.
Let me also
No,
tell you.
but then if we were doing the top 5 hip hop, Jay-Z is arguably there and not there.
Hold on.
man.
We're
Okay,
gonna,
so listen.
we gonna have to talk you after the podcast.
I know.
They're not there. Because watch
Okay,
this.
let's switch it up. Let's switch it up. Give me 5 singers and then we'll give me 5 rappers.
Okay, I can give you 5 singers, 5 rappers.
okay.
That's
Patty?
it. All right, so I gave you Nancy Wilson.
Okay.
Oh, we starting over.
No, I gave you Patty,
Patty,
Nancy Wilson,
Nancy Wilson,
You said Sam
Juicy.
Cooke.
Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke.
I won't put in Ntume in this since you gave me 5. How many is that?
That's
That's
3.
3.
3.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna say this one, and I can't call him one of the greatest ever. Oh man, that's so difficult.
Look, I made it easy.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney. Okay,
Okay.
4.
Shout out Whitney.
All right.
I like this.
We got one more for singers.
And singers, one more.
One more. You got 4 of them things already.
Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
Got to.
That was
Okay.
a dope. That was a dope 5.
That's
a dope 5
talented ass list, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Now we going 5
Hip
rappers.
hop. See, the top 2 The 1 and 2 is arguable.
We are. If it's the same two, I think.
Well, it's the only 2 that it should be, and that's
Biggie and Pac.
I'm talking to children now. Okay. No, I'm talking about KRS-One and Rakim Allah.
Okay.
When you're talking about
I knew
number 1
was gonna come up there. I got you.
and Rakim Allah, that's a top 1. That's 1-2.
That's
And look,
one, two.
Rakim didn't curse in his verses, man. So you got
That's 1-2 right there.
Oh, okay.
Then you can, I mean, man,
Definitely,
you got
that's definitely
that's
his
that's you got Melly. I mean, it's just so many.
That was 2.
You only got three.
more.
Okay, so I got 2. All
Mentions.
right, no honorable mentions. Big Daddy Kane.
Okay. I'm here for this list.
His haircut that came back.
Yes, shout out to Armando for making this.
Thank you for putting Jay-Z on.
Yeah, no, Jay, you gotta get Jay and Biggie.
Okay.
Okay,
I
no
do not
Tupac.
put no.
No Tupac.
I take.
I like Tupac.
I would have to do an extended
No, it's didn't.
10. I would have to do a 10 list and possibly an honorable mention
No.
for Tupac.
10 and possibly an honorable
We
mention.
definitely.
Can I
like-
get Dipset?
We definitely like you, Mr. Muhammad, but there's no honorable mention in it. We like your list.
No, I love and respect Tupac. I just don't favor him as
Yeah.
one of my
I
favorites.
understand.
He's in my top 20. I don't think he's gonna crack my
I
top.
could go with top 20. Because even when rounding out the top 20, I would say Scarface before I would say Tupac.
Yes, let me find
Yep.
out.
The original
Scarface.
King of the South.
The original King of the South.
Ice Cube,
Ice, oh, absolute. Snoop Dogg.
Snoop.
You talking about
Snoop
no
Dogg.
Vaseline? Ice Cube? Oh.
But now,
like,
if
oh,
you would have
yeah,
said
yeah.
give you my top 6, the 6th person would
That
have
is an
been
honorable
Easy
mention.
No, she said honorable
You
mention.
trying to do that in there?
But you can't forget.
He renamed
If-
it.
Hold up, we got a lot of work to do. What's your 6?
No, but Eazy-E was dope. No one can deny that.
Cruising
And
down
if
the
you
street,
really
my 6.
Well,
study,
he wasn't writing it though,
it
right?
doesn't matter. His delivery was dope.
Okay.
Eazy-E he made West Coast music. What
Gotcha.
West Coast music is.
All right. So let's just branch back into what
And
you
West
just
Coast
doing.
music will put competition on East Coast music.
I agree.
I mean, it gives it stiff competition depending on what genre.
What era? 'Cause I
What,
don't
what
think they
era
really
and
know.
what genre. But I mean, various areas. Eras. Watch this. Back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, when both the West Coast and the East Coast gave their contribution to the anti-violence movement, you'd be hard-pressed to listen to Self-Destruction and All in the Same Gang and say, damn, I can't pick which one. Because those representations from East Coast and West Coast were dope across the board. I mean, just prolific artistry. Unfortunately, we don't enjoy that to this day.
All right, hold on. Let's. View a little bit off the music for a second. Let's get back to this relationship segment. A lot of our listeners love the relationship segment
Because we give great advice.
We try to give.
They do not give great
We
advice.
try to give as best advice as we can.
We got a fan club out here.
Exactly.
Y'all have.
Side
So-
chick contracts.
You all have destroyed several relationships.
They
No,
have
we help
destroyed
build.
all
No.
relationships.
We laid the foundation.
Oh my gosh, no! That is so
Just threw
funny.
that back at me.
But yeah, go ahead, Kicks. Go that.
Shout out to the
that question.
listeners who are crazy enough to trust Kels and Blazion to give them relationship advice. Please
Thanks.
follow up with us to let us know how that's going for you. Make sure you continue to send those relationship questions to live from the 75 podcast at gmail.com.
The best part of the podcast right here.
Okay. Does education or financial status have to be the same if all basic needs are met?
That's a good question.
That's a good question that we can't
No,
do our thing on.
No?
absolutely not.
Tell us why.
Well, everybody should bring something to the table. Nobody should come to the table hungry and empty-handed. But if she has finances, and I use she first because, of course, it's already understood that when we have money, it's all right to spend it. But if she has money and you have wisdom, and she's able to marry her money with your wisdom and help to spread the furtherance of an idea, then that is a good match.
Equal opportunity out here.
That is a good match, and vice versa if it was the other way around. But the reality is education in this world, our women are generally more educated, and they have a higher earning potential based on the work marketplace. And so it becomes an imbalanced situation when you're looking for equality, when one, you outnumber men, and two, you outnumber us on college and university campuses. So either you're going to be happy with a man who may not have what you have, or you're going to be lonely and bothering him about what he did for her.
Facts.
Shout out to the side chicks.
No, that's the quickest way to become a side chick. To have, listen. I don't want to. The quickest way to become a side chick is to have unrealistic standards.
Mike Muhammad for president.
Mike Muhammad for president. But no, you know, I'm contributing right now.
Look, he usually asks the guest for $5. He about to put money in.
And we will take it. No, seriously. The quickest way for a woman to find herself in a position where she's sharing a man with another woman or other women is to have unrealistic, I didn't say high standards, unrealistic standards.
Okay, so we just received these amazing words of wisdom from Mr. Muhammad. Now watch this, Kels. How you feel?
I'm going with Mr. Muhammad all the way on this one. That's facts, you know what I'm saying? But no, like he said, a lot of women. I went to college, you know what I'm saying? I graduated. I got a degree. When I was in college, it was women galore. You know what I'm saying? And like he's saying, and I agree with that. Sometimes there's gonna be a situation where we all got friends where it might be the guy who got street knowledge. He might have the money and the street knowledge, but he don't know how to use it to generate business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She might have that knowledge to help him get that idea together, and it could be a perfect match. So I'm gonna go with Mr. Muhammad on this. It's not always about do we have the same. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with him, and I'm with him again on the side chick part too.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Blazing.
I'm calling them unrealistic ass goals.
What?
You know
I'm with Mr. Muhammad as well, you know. There's no need for me to talk, and Kels already said what he needed to say.
Nothing about side chicks and snacks.
Whoever's selling the EBT card this month, let me
No
know.
way.
That's the easiest guy to please right there. We ain't got to buy number right.
And that's another thing. These women, these young women, younger, very few of them have undertaken the skill of cooking.
Facts.
And listen, can't cook.
She can bake, but she can't cook.
If you can't cook, you better have a good earning potential.
Exactly. A brother can't live off of damn cupcakes.
You don't have to.
Where the meat at?
Women got to learn how to cook. If you don't cook, another woman's gonna cook for your man, and you don't want.
Hey, that's the slogan for 2020 right there.
You know what?
Exactly. While you had the podcast, somebody cooking up for 20, right?
Do not make me FaceTime him right now.
Shout out to Tim 2820.
Don't answer it.
Look, she ain't cooking, Tim. I understand why you're not here recording us.
I would like to say that I agree with Mr. Muhammad.
4 for 4. Not Wendy's either.
Well, I appreciate you all agreeing, but the reality is that relationships amongst men and women, particularly black men and women, we have to repair the process of relationships, because our women and the very important role that they play in the development of community is being diminished in the fact that they're so unhappy. And they are, in their unhappiness, they are not doing what could be best for us as a people. For instance, look at the beautiful goddess of a woman, Serena Williams. She dated many, many black men.
Broke my
And
heart.
she did not find any of them that she thought took her serious. So she met a white man who showered her, not with gifts, but with all of those things that she thought she was missing. And now the beast has found his beauty. This is what is being orchestrated in the way of a plan, because in truth, Caucasians, white people, realize that their birth rate numbers are very, very low. And they're not reproducing in numbers commensurate with growth. So their numbers are seen as regressive while ours are seen as progressive. For every one death we have, there may be 11 births. For every 11 deaths they have, there may be one birth. And so social scientists are saying that white people are at what they call a zero birth rate, because they're evening out in number, death and birth. And so now, in a panic of time, they have looked around the back door and found a way to elongate their years. And it is by placing their seed in the fertile earth of the black woman.
So they cross promotion.
It's just like the movie. It's just like the movie Get Out. If you watch the movie,
It's a fire movie.
and they were taking in the movie the brain and implanting it, but if you notice, the grandmother was a black woman. The grandfather was a black woman. Black man, I'm sorry. Eventually, the mother would have become a black woman. The father, a black man, to the point where eventually all of their family would have been black with a white mind. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That movie was.
So now we're living in that reality because somebody said, rather than die at a zero birth rate, I will implant my mind, my idea in a vessel that shows no slowdown. So I leave with this. You went to school, you took some philosophy, and they taught you about Freud and Sigmund Freud and his chief concept, the Oedipus complex. And in the Oedipus complex, Sigmund Freud says that the secret desire of every man is to have sexual relations with his mother. Now watch this. You and I hear that and say how sick, how depraved, how perverted. We could never even conceptualize something like that. But what you have to understand about Freud is he was a psychologist who studied psyche. And the depth of the psyche can go only as far as your existence. So as a new man on the planet, a Caucasian, his psyche was not as in depth as yours and mine. So what is he talking about in this psychological equation? He is saying that the secret desire of every white man is to have sexual relations with the mother of creation, who is the black woman. And so they all journey for our woman because she is considered the booty, that which is taken in conflict or war at the destruction of the man. So now she becomes the booty. And what do we say? Shake your booty. See? We're so ignorant that we don't even know that we're using phrases and nuances that are commensurate with a defeated, destroyed man. And we allow our woman to be seen as a lollipop in the candy store. And the whole world comes and plucks her out. See, this is our failure.
That's music.
But in our being brought up from the plantations into free society, the enemy of our growth said there were 3 sciences he would never teach us. The science of war, see, the science of business, and the science of mating. There's a science to mating and relationships that we have been deprived of because of the method by which we were reared on the plantation and the way we engaged relationship. So now we have to be completely made over, made to reinvestigate, rediscover, and reevaluate relationship. So none of us are fit. None of us are fit.
So shouldn't we get back at the white man and
What?
and mess with
First
him?
of all, no. Relationship segment is over. Thank you, everyone, for
Let me
listening.
answer that. Should we not get, I've heard people say that.
They taking our shit, we go back.
Listen,
Get there.
no,
Why are you here?
no, and I'll tell you why.
Because I got questions.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the similar process. It's the same process. If your black mama was good enough for your black daddy, then why can't a black woman be good enough for you?
Facts.
See? And that, you say, well, wait a minute. My situation is different. Well, not really. Because even in the Asian culture, you are still a part of the original family.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you still come from the original family. All you did was one member of the family found their way back to another member of the family and produced another hue or child from the family or the hue of our family. That's all. Yeah. So when you understand that relationship building and nation building are one and the same, how can you build a nation without a queen? And how can you have a queen without having the goddess black woman?
Oh, with that.
Excuse you.
Sorry. But
You take notes today, Kels?
no, I like this. I like this podcast, man. This was dope.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to go ahead and say this is my favorite podcast in Life on
Oh,
podcast.
I'm so honored.
I'm gonna
Thank
put this
you.
one up there with Young Money on.
Oh, I'm honored. I'm honored. Thank you.
Top 5.
They running together.
And I'm slightly putting it up there a little bit just because of the waitress. And you really had to work.
That's
for
funny.
And that's your favorite joint. So I like that. But is it any other thing, anything else you want to get off your chest, or anything you want to talk about? Before we go ahead and exit stage left. Anything you want to know about you? Any things you got coming up?
$5 you like to give away.
We have a lot coming up. Just stay tuned. But most importantly, I want us to learn how to fall in love with one another, meet one another, and fall in love with one another. Not what we have come to learn as love, this weak, emotional, overbearing. But love is defined as the mathematical formula that will cause you to hurt that which you say you love in order to make it better. And when you love yourself, you love your family, you love your people, you will do that which is necessary to make them better, even if it brings them pain. And so we have to learn to love one another, because the pain that we bring one another now is not a good growth pain. But when we learn to love one another and support one another and inspire one another and encourage one another, then what you will see is a brotherhood and a sisterhood that is like heaven. So that's all I would encourage.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, y'all got anything to say? How y'all feeling?
Podcast history.
Podcast history?
I didn't get $5, so I got
You were so...
I got wisdom today, so I'll take that.
Episode, we got work to do. Mr. Muhammad, we definitely appreciate you being here today.
And I appreciate the invitation. I thank you, and I hope that you all continue. Work out the kinks, work out the relationship qualms. There's no Beyonce here. No
Facts.
Diana Ross.
Facts.
And what I mean by that is, if you study the way that the enemy has divided and conquered great relationships, they always reached in and extracted one as the star. Look at the Breakfast Club. They're doing it now with Charlamagne. They extract one and make them the star, so it's no longer the Supremes. It's Diana Ross and the Supremes. It's no longer Destiny's Child. It's Diana Ross and Destiny's Child.
Exactly.
You gotta be careful
It's cake.
in building relationships.
I mean,
Thank you.
I'm already branding
Thank you,
myself,
thank you.
Well, hold on, Mr. Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
What can more people find information about you and stuff? What can they find you at? You got a website or anything?
And all of that, but listen, it's under construction, and I don't want to give any preemptives, so I'm going to have to take the responsibility to make myself available. MichaelJMuhammad.com.
Facebook though.
MichaelJMuhammad.com. Facebook.
Keep us
Michael J.
informed,
Muhammad.
and
I don't know all that stuff.
we'll get in contact with him and post information on the page.
Thank you.
Hey, well, y'all know how we do it, man. This your boy Kells, man. KELZZZ75 on Instagram. Make sure y'all hit me up. Continue to follow. Hit me and tag me in all, events, music, all that. Hit me up. Check me out. Go ahead.
It's Case Batter, CAAKESBADDER. Keep sending us music. Keep sending us information. We will post it. We are grateful. Thank you for subscribing and listening. We do it for y'all.
Blazing Heat Rock, y'all know I don't spell nothing at all. Shout out to the podcast. We're doing it big for the 2000.
Elevating the culture.
Elevate the culture.
We got more work to do.
We got work to do.
Same difference.
No, different.
Gotcha. All right.
We out.
We out of here.